Constituents Association we give to you as a keepsake to remember, this moment. It's something to cherish and remind you of your goals ahead of you. So with that, I'll present it. We'll do this together.
Harley Vliegenthart.
Hello, everyone. We're almost at the end now. 12 or 13 years ago, we walked into the doors of this place for the first time, and now finally we get to walk out with what's hopefully the last time. It's quite nice, isn't it? This is the top of what used to seem like a very, very tall, insurmountable mountain. Now we're up here at the top. It's quite groovy. Like any mountain, it's had its ups and downs, rocky spots and grassy spots. Spots that seemed like part of a dream and others that seemed like an avalanche-filled, falling down nightmare. I'm sure you all know what I mean. But look at us up now, guys. We've made it. We're now almost at the end of this journey. Now it's time to make an important decision. What comes next? The golden answer to that question is with another question. What do you want to do next? Well, what do you want to do? What is the number one numero uno thing in your life that you want to reach out and seize by the horns? What are your big goals, your dreams? Now, think for a minute. What's stopping you from reaching them? Why can't you put your grabbers out in the world right now and start to pull that rope that'll bring you to your goal? You should realize that nobody can make you live in any particular way. We are at the best possible point in our lives to start following our dreams. If we let other things pile up on top, we'll never reach our goals. You're the master of your fate when it comes to making decisions. There's not much that can stop you from following your dreams. There are only logical reasons and illogical feelings. A feeling called fear can stop you. Face it, most people are afraid to do anything that's different from what the rest of the world is doing. Most people condemn themselves to lives of overwhelming mediocrity because they cannot envision doing anything that will separate them from mediocre. They're too afraid to follow their dreams out into the world, wherever that might take them. Now, why in the world would you want to settle for that? Because you're afraid of what someone else might think? Are you going to let that fear keep you from following your dreams? Andrew Jackson once said, "One man with courage makes a majority, but finding that one man is almost impossible in today's times. You could travel from place to place across the world and be very lucky if you find one person who's willing to stop doing the silly nonsense everyone else is doing and do something as radical as living for himself or following his dreams. You have to accept the fact that actively following your dreams will often, more than not, make you unique and different from the majority. To put aside and swallow your fear of leaving mediocrity, to stop at nothing to accomplish your goals, to find the life that you want to live, that's something strange, unheard of, and so will be an object of amusement to many. Why? Because people seem to hate anything that is new and different. The vast majority of human beings tend to dislike and even actually dread all notions with which they are not familiar. With every great innovator, of every Da Vinci or Edison, comes a million people calling them fools or madmen. To some, the fear of being called a fool, a madman, or even a much tamer label like irresponsible will be too much to handle. That fear might overwhelm them and they will scurry back into their holes, back to a life of conformity, back to doing what they've always done. Not because it's what they want to do, but just because it's what they know. That's okay. But never forget what you'll be missing out on if you kneel to the false god of conformity. We forfeit 3/4 of ourselves to be like other people. You may only find a quarter of what you're looking for if you're too afraid to search outside of your comfort zone, and that's if you're lucky. If you are afraid to be different, afraid to do something radically unique, afraid to chance the smirks and scorns of your friends, acquaintances, or parents, then you will not attain 1/4 of the success that you could have. And you know what that is? Tragic and scary. I believe that for a person to condemn themselves to mediocrity is quite possibly the worst thing that could happen to anyone, and it terrifies me to think that could happen to any one of us. I'm not saying you need to become an icon. I'm just saying you cannot allow yourself to give up on your dreams before you've even started. Do not allow yourself to sacrifice who you are for the conventions of other people. Some people may have convinced themselves, or allowed themselves to be convinced that their dreams are just that, dreams. They're simply impossible, unattainable, something that, no matter how much one desires it, is forever bound to be nothing but a figment of one's imagination. An idea that could be cool, if only it were possible. If you ask me, there's a single greatest travesty that could happen to anyone else. I do not believe that there's such a thing as a dream too big, within the realm of reality, of course. If we existed in a time where man had not already stood on the moon and planted the flags there, it would seem impossible to many. I mean, how ridiculous can you be? Send a man to another planet and bring him back? It's not possible. You see how easy it is, how quickly it is to shut down someone else's dream? It's even easier if you do it to yourself. Imagine for a moment if that someone, whoever it was, let's say you, for example, had listened to the people telling them, it's impossible, that's ridiculous. Imagine if they had listened to the people saying, you will only end up with failure. What happens? Well, no man on the moon, no one small step for man, and no giant leap for mankind. Just one big, giant, steaming pile of disappointment and a whole lot of thoughts about what might have been. For the love of everything, don't throw your dreams into a pile full of what might have been. Surpass what you expect from your life. Make your third grade self even prouder of who you are now than you were before. You must have courage to follow your dreams. Confidence is key to a lot of things in life. It is not enough to get caught up in the momentary exuberance of thinking about your dreams and the new and exciting things that come with them. That sort of thinking will only sustain you for a couple of weeks or maybe even a couple of days, and then the doubts will creep back in. And then suddenly you're wondering whether or not chasing after this thing is worth it after all. And then you're back in the trap of conformity. You need to resolve deep and firmly to commit to following your dreams for as long as it takes to find and accomplish them. You must create a concrete, solid foundation of unshakable proportions. Resolve that you will get what you want and you'll have a greater chance of getting. Seize confidence. Create an undying rule that you will not be shaken. If you have to fake it, fake it. Soon enough you'll realize that you don't need to fake it anymore. Confidence will grow within you. Without the confidence and resolve to seize what you want, you'll be hard-pressed to get very far on the path towards it. It's hard to do something if you're unsure of what you're doing, not to mention how the people around you will see it. Imagine, for a moment, we're sitting in Houston at NASA headquarters, the control room right before a manned moon mission launch. Imagine looking over and seeing that the mission director is sitting there, sweating, holding his head and crying out, "Oh gee, I sure hope we make it this time." Could you imagine a thing like that? Would that fly? Of course not. Why? Because those people are... I can't fucking see the paper.
You're done.
Because those people at NASA are supremely confident. They have little doubt of whether or not they will succeed because they have done all the preparation they need to succeed in such a task. And that is the most important part of that. And what is the most important part of that preparation? The belief in oneself. NASA can succeed time and time again, not because they just kind of sort of know what they're doing, but because they truly know what they're doing. They know what they are doing, how they are doing it, why they are doing it, and that it will succeed. None of that would be possible without a concrete, solid foundation, an incredible amount of faith and belief in one's own abilities to do what he or she must. Now look, if NASA can succeed in each and every one of their man on the moon missions, let's face it, an incredibly complex thing that requires knowledge far beyond you or I know. If they can do that, then why in the world can't you or I succeed with each and every one of our ordinary day-to-day missions here on Earth? Now, even with all the bells and whistles, you will run into walls. Sometimes no level of resolve and no amount of confidence can get you around the block. You may be on a roll and then suddenly you're in a rut. Out of nowhere, you're suddenly stuck where you are. You feel like you're not even moving. You must remember that like any journey, this next big one is made out of a series of small steps. Small steps that can be so inconceivably small, it sometimes seems like you're not even moving. But no matter what, don't fall back on what you want. Keep going. Put your head down and trudge onward, even if it feels like you're walking in place. Eventually, you'll look up, turn around, and be shocked at how far you've come. Today is the end of the first big journey in our lives. I believe you all can seize life by the horns wherever you can and let your dreams, ambitions, goals take you into the next big, great journey. I believe you all are capable of much more than you think. Avoid settling for less. I don't think there is such a thing as a dream too big or a goal too far away or ambitions too far-fetched. I know you can reach those goals as long as you're willing to take that first step, that first plunge. Swallow your fear, cast your conformity to the mediocre aside. Believe in yourself, and anything you can dream, you will find it to be possible. And I don't intend for this message to only reach my peers. I hope that each and every one of you can get something from this speech, even you older folk in the back. I want you to follow your dreams too, even if you get a late start on it. You do not need a doctor's note to start following your dreams and making them real. Break into things slowly. Use logic and common sense like the rest of us, and you'll be okay. You guys do not need to sit on the curb and watch a parade go by. You can still march in a parade. You can even ride the elephant if you want to. And the most important thing, don't try to be the best ever. Just be the very best that you can be. To my mother and my father, thank you. To all my fellow graduates, congratulations.